both for joining. This will be great. I'm very excited to have you on. I know you guys got some new stuff going on, and it's always good to talk basketball.
Oh
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Um, absolutely. So the first thing I like to ask people when they come on is maybe it's simple, maybe it's not, but it's what have you been listening to lately?
Oh
Start
man.
off.
I feel like a bunch of music just dropped. Like,
It did. Today was a good day.
yeah. I'm crazy about this new Matt Champion record.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, our buddy Dejan worked on it a
Oh,
lot,
nice.
and it sounds so wild. I've been a fan of his, but this is like he's on some new shit. It sounds very cool.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. That's a great one. I mean, I honestly feel like I've kind of gotten back into my like I go in seasons of like listening to old music and then seasons of listening of like paying attention a lot more intently. And right now I'm kind of like hiding away and like listening to music that's old I've never heard before.
For
Oh
But
sure.
yeah,
yeah.
honestly, just been listening to a lot of like kind of like old soul music and old swing music because in like old jazz music, 'cause I'm trying to learn how to play drums better, and all those guys freak it so much that
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch up.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like I'm like that all the time too, where it's like I'll finally listen to something that came out last year. I'm like, how did I miss this?
Right.
It's so great. Cool.
It's fun to write your own schedule like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is my favorite of this year. I don't know about you guys, but cool. Yeah. So I actually, I know you guys just did over the winter, you did this kind of stripped down, kind of unplugged tour, and I was able to catch you in Chicago with that, which was really great.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
You played with some former guests and pals of mine, Free Range, which was awesome.
yes, that was
They're
one
the
of my
best.
that show was so fun and free range is incredible, and I was
Yeah.
really blown away by the performance and that was that show felt very official to us because it was the most, like, proper venue of the tour that
Mhm.
we did. I had to, like, feel like we were in a theater a little bit. It was fun. It was really
It
cool.
was seated, yeah.
Yeah. Some grown up shit.
Yeah, right. Well, awesome. And I know that was kind of leading up to, now we're kind of approaching a release for a new album for you guys. Um, I've gotten to listen. I love it a lot. It's very good. It feels very personal. Um, can you kind of share a little bit about like kind of what went into recording that? Because I know even when I saw you guys play, you mentioned some stuff about like there is kind of like a nostalgia to it, right? Like there's a lot of like these sort of like focal memories, and yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like what went into writing and recording that one?
Yeah. I mean, first off, it was just like a very collaborative process with our buddy Ben Littlejohn and Andrew Sarlo. Like the four of us all produced it and recorded it all together. And that was our first time. Like every session was the four of us all in the same room, which was
Yeah.
kind of a unique, really like inspiring, you know, energy. And we did a lot of like live recording, a lot of really candid, like iPhone, like field recorder type shit. Yeah, and that was, the process itself kind of lent itself to like a more vulnerable, loose, not a lot of metronome, not a lot of like, I don't know. It felt more experimental and more
Mhm.
risky in a fun way.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. It does feel a little. There's like storytelling involved, especially when you mention those little field recordings and like those little things to just add like almost like very fragmented specific details.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. We got to pick, like, interesting places to go, and like Charles said, like, just spend time together is the best because you get accountability for your, like, emotions over music or your emotions over your song, or you just get, like, more of a shared energy that you get to rely on each other a little bit more than instead of
Mhm.
kinda just fun, and it's great. That was really
Yeah.
fun.
And you don't live in Texas anymore, right?
No. Yeah, we both moved away from Texas in the last like few years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Will's in Nashville. I'm in St. Louis.
Yeah, we don't know how much to embrace that conversation or not. We like to pretend we still Texas a little bit.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But no, I mean, I do miss it. I feel like the record is really informed by it because we went there to record it for a lot of it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like looking back at that time of our lives. I mean, it was written and recorded when I was still living in Texas, but and so yeah, we like. I think we still claim Texas a little bit, even though we don't live there right now.
I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely.
Always.
I mean, the band name is Hovvdy. Like, you have to claim Texas a little bit, right?
We're stuck.
It's right there.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I feel like, even, I mentioned the sort of that they feel like kind of very personal memories. I feel like that even comes through, and you guys had that music video for Forever, which is very, it feels like a short film in itself. What was it like making that video? It looked like it was a lot of fun.
It was such a trip. Yeah, that was kind of our first time having like a proper crew. We felt like we were doing the real deal. We were just so lucky to have Veronica and Kyle. The whole cast was wild, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just a party. Honestly, like what you see was real.
Totally. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Good acting. It felt like it wasn't really acting at all, right?
For sure. Yeah. Really grateful to have our friend Michael Reese hold it down for us and be the visionary behind it. And we're also very lucky we had people show up for us, which was the most important part, to have people that are fun to be around to show up for a fake real party.
Yeah.
It was very fun. I mean, the crew was insane. Like Troy said, we're grateful. The amount of buy-in was very heartwarming because
Mhm.
all these people were there showing up to work hard, and it was kind of like on a shoestring, and like it was fun. So it was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like a blast. It's fun to watch. And when it comes to kind of the songs that went into this new record, are there any kind of artists that you feel like directly kind of influence this compared to previous albums or anything?
I feel like I usually have a good answer for this. I mean, this is a ridiculous answer, but I think in some ways we were looking back to like the early days of the band, and our second record, Cranberry, was like in the initial conversations around the record, we were like, let's do like Cranberry Part 2, like, which is funny because me and Will did that one totally, by ourselves, and we both kind of jokingly think it sounds like shit. Like just sonically, we're always like, man, that record doesn't sound good, but enough people around us are like, no, like that, like we love it. Even like Sarlo, that I think that's the first record he heard of ours that like turned him on. But anyways, yeah, sometimes we talk about the new record. I remember Sarlo saying he wanted it to sound like lo-fi, but like in IMAX. So it's like we use the like the iPhone, but it's like 3 iPhones,
Sure. Nice.
That was stoner.
Wait, what'd you say?
That was very stoner.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, influences. It's hard to say. I feel like we did bring some songs that really liked, but I feel like we kind of did build off. Sarlo's like initial goal with the album was to do something new and try to challenge ourselves, and I feel like we just kind of responded to that and used that as inspiration, whether it be like a big or small thing in that moment. I think it was fun to stay inspired by like just trying something we may not like have thought of, whether it be recording something a certain way or doing a single vocal instead of stacking them or just stuff like that. It's fun.
Cool. Yeah, I'm very excited for the release. It's from what I've heard, it's very good. It's really pushes right along from where you were with True Love and just keeps going. So I'm excited for everyone else to hear it too.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
And one thing, I remember when I saw you guys when you came through to Chicago, which I think was also, it might have been snowing that day too, or it was very cold that day. I remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was.
But I feel like I remember you saying, when you were introducing maybe one of the newer songs, it felt like, I know there's a lot of themes within like, kind of family and childhood within some of the lyrics, but I swear you mentioned something about baseball as a kid or something like that. Did you mention something that I feel like that's true?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a new one. I think we played Sudbury,
That sounds right.
and that one references like wanting to be a Texas Ranger shortstop when you grow up.
Yeah.
That lyric actually references my brother who
Okay.
taught me how to play baseball. But yeah, baseball was like everything growing up.
I am also a huge baseball fan. It's not just basketball for me. So it's yeah, I love hearing that. That like I said earlier, like that line alone, it does bring like this vivid nostalgia to the forefront for sure. And in that sense, from baseball to basketball, I guess, kind of pivoting in that direction, is there, as you guys were growing up, do you have, any vivid memories involving basketball, like growing up with basketball?
For sure. Basketball was definitely my first love as far as sports go. I think it was probably when I was. I mean, uh, unfortunately, I kind of missed Michael Jordan stuff.
Mm.
Like, I mean, I think I remember watching a little bit, but when I truly fell in love for myself was like 3 or 4 years down the road, kind of like '99, like
Mhm.
Vince Carter and like Allen Iverson and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
just I mean, early memories is just like balling,
Yeah.
just playing all the time, and like even like we had kind of a bad hoop, and so I would go to my friends. This is way too long of a story. My friends' parents were divorced, so there's two. They each had a house, and like the dad's house was close to our house, and it was like always kind of empty, and like I don't. It was like kind of a weird vibe, but they had like a nice. They had a nice hoop, so I would just like got permission. It would go to their backyard every day by myself and play basketball.
Was it a
Oh,
Gorilla?
that's the one. That's got to be it.
But my hoop at home couldn't handle the dunk, so I had to go
Yeah.
elsewhere.
You didn't
Yeah,
want to do like the Shack where you're just going to pull it down.
just pull the whole rim.
Cool. What about you,
Yeah.
Charlie?
Yeah, it's fun. I feel like, like I said, baseball was the main thing, but me and my older brother both played basketball, and
Mhm.
we were all about Vince Carter, like and one mixtape, like all the dunk contests. We were deep on that shit, like lowering the goal to whatever 8 feet and just like having a blast. It was a lot of fun.
I think that's where it's
Totally.
a lot of us, kind of all
Yeah.
that in one mixtape for sure, kind of brought it to a whole new level of like being able to connect to it because it's like looked kind of bad and was shot at like a playground and
Hmm.
Yeah. I had some DVD that like it started. You probably had the same one. It like I feel like it covered just like dunk contests, and it was like Vince Carter was like the peak, and then it went back from there to like Jordan and like Spud
Hmm.
Webb and like
Dom-
crazy.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's too. Spider Webb's a freaky one. That one was in Dallas.
Ooh.
So like he was like 5'5" or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
So crazy.
you know, the NBA rosters always embellish the height. I think he was like listed at 5'10" or something, but it was like 5'6".
I
Yeah,
feel
Yeah.
like with him they would embellish it down
down.
instead of up.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, every now and then we get our like short king dunker. It's like you get
Yeah.
the Spud Webb, you get the Nate Robinson.
But the bounce is out of control. I mean, we have that a
Yeah,
little bit. Mac McClung, even though it's kind of a controversial figure right now, but
it's true.
rep him a little bit because I grew up a big Texas Tech guy, and he went there to play college basketball. So, uh,
Nice. Yeah.
like,
Matt,
but he has
Matt,
crazy for sure.
absolutely.
The
Um,
NBA player.
what was that?
All right. The guy I'm talking about, Mac McClung, who like
Oh
has
yeah,
won dunk contests, he's not a proper NBA player. He's like in the G League.
yeah.
But
That's
But you
right.
know what? Dude can hoop.
hey, it's all about ratings. You gotta get views.
So I guess, did you guys both grow up as Mavs fans then?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I wasn't like not it wasn't until maybe high school that I got like tapped in with NBA. Like
Mhm.
my mom got remarried and my stepdad had like shared like season tickets, like Mavs season tickets. So like I got to go to like a handful of the games when that run when they like beat the you probably remember the year, Will, when they beat the Spurs and then they lost to the Heat in like game 6 or something.
Yeah, '06. Yeah.
Yeah. I was I,
Yeah,
I was there for that.
yeah, Mavs for sure. I mean, it's funny because it's like it's kind of baked into me, like, to love the Mavs, but, like, throughout my life and even now, I have a kind of a mixed relationship with them, honestly. Like, I do follow them. That's the team I follow, but I'm
For
kinda
sure.
like sometimes I get, like, just kinda frustrated with them on, like, a weird level, but they're great right now. They're doing awesome.
Yeah,
So
I don't think you're alone in that either.
yeah,
we have a Discord channel for indie basketball, and there's some Mavs fans in there who are constantly
they're
airing their
just
frustrations.
I mean, Luka is insane, but I feel like you can obviously have kind of like your own podcast about being a Luca follower is like weird and it's not always like the best feeling, even though the ride is wild. He's so insanely talented and good, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, hey, they got to the West Finals a few years ago. The
The,
sky's the limit.
the
But let's
team looks good. Teams they're gelling right now. But I guess based on what you were talking about when you were getting into basketball around like late '90s, I guess it's safe to say that like you were kind of getting into it like the full Dirk Nowitzki era, right?
sure. I mean, he was drafted like
Yeah.
in or something.
I think so. Yeah.
Um, and so, but I mean, honestly, I didn't think I was very late on like really loving and appreciating Dirk. It probably wasn't until like '06, Charles, like that run where I started.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm buying into Dirk. Um, I just always liked I don't know. I always like just the more wild players. He just was
Yeah.
so straight line that like my like 12-year-old brain was like, this is boring. Um, but then I
Give me
grew
the
up
guys who can dunk.
exactly
Yeah.
like I want someone who has just like no fear and is like 5'10" or someone who can just like jump over you. No, but I mean his story, he's such a good person too. Like and I think he's awesome. Dirk's
Yeah.
really important to Dallas at
Mhm.
large.
Facts.
Yeah, definitely. And I when it comes to when you're talking about like the guys who just like are fearless, like I feel like I talk about him on this podcast all the time, but Allen Iverson just brought so much to the game that just like he's cool. He is just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like going to watch the Mavs like play OKC when it was like Durant and Harden and Westbrook, and I was like, it's
Westbrook.
so it's so hard not to root for
Yeah.
this team. So much more fun.
Yeah, it's just
Totally.
fun. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I mean like the AI being fearless stuff is I mean, I feel like we still haven't really seen a player quite like it. Maybe Derrick Rose early on. He didn't quite have the longevity, but
That's powerful for me. That's my guy right there for
well,
sure.
crazy bounce and just like rude player.
Yeah.
But but yeah. I feel like Westbrook, like Charlie just said, like Westbrook falls into a really interesting category of NBA player too, where he's like, I mean, he's in his prime. He's obviously just incredibly explosive and
Mhm.
dunks too hard, and um, but like I feel like he gets hate, and it's kind of unfair a little bit. But
Yeah.
uh,
I, I
Yeah.
I feel like it also like ties to what we were talking about when your kids like kind of lowering the hoop to do like a dunk contest. Like that's what you want out of a player. Like I want to emulate you and do these crazy dunks.
Yes. It's just so wild that LeBron's still doing that at 40. Or no, he's 39, I think. But
Not slowing down though. Like it's crazy. I mean, he's slowing down a little, but like he's still like no one has ever played at his age like he is right now.
no one, yeah, he's no one. There's an NBA. It really is wild.
It's crazy. So do you guys are still kind of keeping up to date with Mavs and NBA in general?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not like, I know it's like Washington and like Lively. I just don't like, I don't always know the roster deeply. I know our team come 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 very far as like our personnel goes. We have like presence down low for the first time, maybe like ever. Like straight up, like the Mavs have always struggled with getting big men. I think that was like the secret success to our championship in 2011 was
What's his name?
You have Chandler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Forwards.
but yeah, stinking. We have presence down low. Kyrie and Luka, obviously, like two of the best players in the NBA. We just got to make that work. That the highlight the other night, or like maybe
the hook.
It's so nasty.
Where Luka like stole the like dives for a loose ball, like throws it behind his head to Kyrie. Kyrie like is on a fast break with one guy behind him, and like lobs it behind his head, and then I think Lively comes up with this just ridiculous dunk. It was like
just like 3
3
feet above the 3 feet above the rim.
Yeah, and like
it's like insane.
The Mavs have never played like that, and so it's like so interesting to see the Mavs have this like have this trio that's not to like make you feel like embarrassed. Or,
yeah.
So I feel like
I was gonna say in those black unis too.
Yeah.
It was nasty.
Stop
it. I feel like in general, like this past week or so, like the chemistry on the Mavs has really like gone up. Like Kyrie and Luka are playing super well together. Kyrie got an alley-oop dunk, which like you never see.
That was hard.
And he had the hook shot game winner. Like
that runner game winner was. I mean, yeah, that's like one of the most difficult shots I've ever seen. Insane.
He was like fasting for Ramadan.
Sometimes people go crazy in comments. I saw someone say he's got the Ramadan power right now.
Yeah,
like you're on like 25% energy, but 100 on power. Like,
wasn't there something that like Olajuwon was like fasting in the NBA Finals or something like that? It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I would believe it. I don't know that story.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you feel about the rest of the season for the Mavs? I mean, I think they're sitting at the 6th seed right now.
Yeah, 6 is great. I mean, I just hope we don't have to mess with the play-in. I think we're pretty secure in that race to not do so, but don't want to speak too soon, obviously. I mean, I feel pretty good. Like beating Denver the other night was really great. I feel like Denver is a team that you will have to beat at some point, being in the West, and so knowing we can is great. But yeah, I mean, I always like to just like I said at the beginning, I'm like I just like to observe maybe from a distance a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like I canceled my YouTube TV after baseball season.
Yeah,
I gotta go back on tour. Our drummer Mark is like maybe even more of a head than Will. Probably, definitely more of a head.
1,000%.
So we don't miss. It's like it's deep sports on the road, which is great.
My feed is flooded. Like our DMs on Instagram, it's just Mark absolutely blowing me up with sports highlights.
He's a real hooper too. He's like
oh my God, he's cute.
like Indiana, like 6'5", like milk drinking, like he's that real deal.
And that boy has a jumper. I mean, a
He's
crazy
nasty.
jumper. And I like when we do play, like that's the thing I can do least is like shoot. Like I love to dribble, like pass, love to like use glass, but like I cannot shoot, and so I just love dishing to Mark. He just pulls
There you
up.
go.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Do you guys hoop on the road a lot when you're on tour?
It's been a while.
Yeah, we really don't.
It's
We always end up resenting the basketball that we brought,
it's just rolling around. It's just in the way,
staring at us.
taunting us.
No, I mean, I honestly don't hoop a lot in general. To be honest,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
like I need to go to the Y and like get like roughed up a little bit and like feel something. I mean, because there's no doubt I'd get absolutely run out there.
Yeah, I know. I'm always jealous. A lot of our friends in LA like have weekly pickup meetups. Like
It's LA.
I know
There's something about LA, man. I feel like every musician I talk to who lives there is like, oh yeah, I have a weekly game.
it's crazy.
think-
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Adam Sandler made that cool.
Adam Sandler balling with Timothy Chalamet.
Damn.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
on a different note with that, he's been balling like that for his entire career. I feel like.
Oh yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
Adam Sandler goes to like the real gyms, like where they do like where you'll see like Kevin Durant just show up and play. Like he goes to those gyms.
Like it like has the ball and it's like commanding.
Mm-hmm.
He's great.
With his super baggy shorts. Like he kills it.
He's so baggied out. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
It's the baggy basketball look compared to like the like hyper fitted stuff today.
It's crazy how the fashion trends of basketball just change around because 2003, yeah, it's like at their ankles pretty much.
It's so funny to like you see examples of like the most over the top versions of that where it's like truly like they couldn't dribble between their legs if they wanted to. Like it's so
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever go back.
no.
I feel like now it's just like pure like athletic efficiency. But I think they should go back to the oversized suits. It should
Yes.
be
The draft suits, absolutely.
so good.
Yeah.
The shoulders just like this.
Yeah. Never say never though, because
Yeah.
I feel like in the 70s, 80s, those shorts were popping, and here you got in pregame James Harden's rocking the short shorts.
Did y'all see that thing the other night where James Harden like fake defended Kawhi?
It was like a full shot contest, pretty much.
they're like teammates and they were up by, like they're up by 20 and Harden like dishes it to Kawhi Leonard and like and then immediately runs after him to try to block it.
Oh my god, I saw something with that this morning. It was like, what is Harden doing? Like,
Yeah.
That's the sort of shit you do with your friends, like on the driveway. But like he did that in the middle of an NBA game.
that's when the 15 milligrams kicks in
Yeah.
the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they took halftime.
Yeah.
So good. Well, I hope the Mavs can pull it off. I feel like as like you said, if you avoid the play-in, I feel like you just let it play out. I mean, I'm as a Bulls fan, I don't have much faith in what's gonna go down with that team. So I'm happy to root for the Mavs. I love Luka. He's fun to watch.
So
yeah.
fun. Well, I'm happy to have you somewhat on board. Thank you.
Absolutely. So one thing I like to do with people is a little kind of a game to wrap this up. And it's called musician matchups, where we kind of take a player and it's like, who do you think is like their musical equivalent? I don't know if you guys were able to see this beforehand, but let's try and come up with some musical comparisons.
Let's do it.
It's gonna get silly.
I didn't really do my homework because I glanced at it and I was like, it's better to go in.
You gotta
Fresh on this.
go in, yeah.
Here, I'm going on blind. But,
All right.
Okay, yeah, no. Please go.
So yeah, the gist of it is, well, we got 4 players. Well, it's like however you want to come up with whatever whether it's like how they play or their career arc or like how they dress, whatever. Like
Sick.
the silliness, the more silly the better, which in my opinion. But
Great.
So we'll start with the first who we were just talking about. Is like who is the musical comparison for Luka Doncic?
Oh man, it's so funny. I like went all over the place. Like I was trying to be like, should I pick a really surprising song because he's such a surprising basketball player? But it's like, I don't know. Charles, do you have any thoughts on this?
Nothing. It's supposed to be an artist, not a song, right?
Yeah, I was aiming for like an artist, like
Yeah.
the comp. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like a
I,
part like
I
season
got
like
one.
go.
Bro, Ed Sheeran.
I'm dead. Okay,
You better have a good reason for this.
so this is a lookalike thing now?
Oh no. Absolutely not. Unless that's what you're saying, but you know.
No. Because I can't think of anything else between them except that Luka kind of looks like a no, he doesn't at all.
It's just the shocking degree of success, you know, when you watch them and you see them, and it's just like it's undeniable, but it's surprising.
I think you're talking.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
a little more depth than I thought. For
You
sure.
look at him and you're like, that guy's the best NBA player, like one of the best NBA players.
That's a good point, though. I mean, but I'm sure if you saw him, he's like 6'8" or something, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, sure.
going on.
Yeah.
Funny. That's not bad.
Yeah, Charles, that was crazy.
Across the pond, from across the pond as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. So the one I came up with, I get a little deep, you know. I analyze. I'm trying to figure out like what's the arc. So Luka as a person to me, he's like kind of goofy as like a dude, but like the talent is undeniable and very effortless. So I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Dismemberment Plan, but I went with Dismemberment Plan because those lyrics are very. He's like vocals are very like goofy and off the wall, and but like they're really talented. So that's where I went with that one.
Like, yeah, you gotta like. I mean, honestly, that has depth too. Like, freaky to the ears, freaky to the eyes, but just so damn good.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I gotta dive in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up really quick for Luka. Like, I always feel like I see him like whited out, like white suit or like white fit with like some crazy kind of like Jack Harlow type like jacket or something. And
He loves a white tee. Yeah.
yeah. And I just feel like I see him like performing with like snow muff, you know, like ear muffs on, and like I see him like DJing in like a snowstorm or something. Like, so like maybe like some like insane industrial. The only band I can think of is like Crystal Castles, but I think that guy's a really bad guy, so I didn't want to say it.
That's fair.
But yeah, just like industrial.
Okay. I mean, you know, Luka's Eastern European, like that fits the vibe, right?
Yeah. He contains multitudes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we move on to another European basketball player for the Mavs, and Dirk.
It's so similar. This is like
it's tough,
oh,
but
shit.
there's a different story to tell here because you know his legacy.
It's true. Very true. His legacy is insane. I mean, I'm trying to think of someone who's had just like one really big win in their life, like Dirk had. He was a one-hit wonder.
Damn, shots fired.
Yeah, that really discrediting Dirk a little bit there.
I mean, I was gonna go with like the Who or something, you know,
like some shaggy haircut stuff.
I'm actually not that far off from that.
Damn it, y'all are on one. Like I don't have much to say on this one. What is your song, Matt, or artist?
I'm not saying, you know, obviously the Beatles are like one of the greatest of all time, but I feel like there's something with Dirk and like Beatlemania that kind of crosses over, because his impact for future like, you know, European players was huge. Like it exploded after his success here. So that the Beatlemania is the connection where I got there.
Wow. Gosh.
He would love He would love that.
Yeah.
It's just what I don't even need to answer this one. Those were great, honestly.
This is, we're 40 some episodes deep. Like I get used to doing these.
You have, you have like a system in place where you can crank these out. Like this is
The hard part is trying not to repeat myself, but you guys are actually the first Mavs fans I've had on the podcast, which is great.
Let's
I
go.
feel like nationally they're not like the easiest to come by.
Yeah. Lots of Sixers, lots of Raptors.
Yeah. So what about
Okay.
Knicks? Like, a big one, right?
Knicks, I've had a few. Mostly it was L from Palehound.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's actually hasn't been that many. Because obviously New York, you're splitting with, you got Nets too a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nets, someone who played for the Nets also played for the Mavs was very important. Jason Kidd.
Yeah, and he's the current head coach.
Exactly. There's some storylines you can pull from
Respect.
here.
Oh my gosh, I wish I was more prepared because I feel like I could actually be funny on this one. The other two are too hard for me.
This is the only one I had an answer pop into my head immediately.
Okay.
All right, do I go? You go first, Will.
No. Like I'm gonna think while you do that.
Bro, Wilco.
What? I have no idea. Why.
Explain.
Just such a lifer, man. He's head down, hardworking. He probably still like practices shooting like free throws and shit.
It's too
Blowing
much.
kisses at the free throw line.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's doing the work day in, day out for forever, for the rest of his life, probably.
that's so good. What the hell?
That's interesting. So, I mean, some people who are Mavs fans currently still may not feel the same, because I don't think Mavs fans feel that great about him as the coach right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I think it's pretty split. I don't know what to say. I mean, because at the end of the day, we've had success. Last year was a miss, but like I think generally it's pretty split.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like disagree with you by any means that he's kind of on the hot seat a little bit for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're like miss the playoffs, then
Yeah. It'll be easy to blame.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a good J
yeah.
Kid?
So I actually pulled from our Mavs fan in the Discord, and I let him kind of speak on this one because he has the personal experience with it, and he went with David Crosby, which is interesting.
Interesting.
Because the reason being, like, definitely an icon in his day, but maybe overstayed his welcome a little bit. I feel like in more recent years he was being a little too vocal.
He's a little bit there. Yeah.
Yeah. And but when he was a player, when Jason Kidd was a player, dude, unstoppable.
The perspective of David Crosby did not age well, just as the perspective of no, I mean, but see, I feel like that's shaky because J Kid's kind of like
Fair.
Zen. He's like Zen. He's like Zen out now. He like doesn't yell. He's like talks real chill, like dude. Like he's like very like I don't know. Like I feel like the way he commands his team is almost like talk quiet, so everybody has to be kind of thing. But
I buy that. I struggled with this one as actually.
yeah,
So
I don't have shit. Like the only thing I like want to do for this exercise is like it's just like where do I picture them performing? Honestly, is the only.
It could be at any point because like he played. Obviously, he had this Suns era with the bleach blonde hair.
Yes. For real. I mean, but like honestly, I see J Kidd in like a suit, like hosting like an award show or something. Like he looks like he fits. So maybe he'd be like. So maybe he'd be like a funny guy who does music who hosts stuff. What's a good example of that?
There's there's definitely someone out there that I'm drawing a blank on.
Literally, uh, I have 3 separate pieces, and I can't piece them together, and I'm sorry about it.
I have two of the three, and like musician comedians like Dimitri Martin. I don't
Sandler.
yeah, Sam, dude,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Yeah. There you go.
Not entirely musician, but like, he definitely had an album, so like he counts.
Oh yeah.
And then Sandler's my answer just via Charlie.
Jack Black.
Oh, hell yeah. Too much energy for Jason Kidd, but
yeah, for
I love
sure.
I love Jack Black.
He's very vein popping.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the last one we have here. And it's Vince Carter.
Okay.
Oof.
That's crazy.
It's a long career.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't Matt, will you start us this time so me and Charlie can gather our thoughts?
Absolutely. This one I actually feel pretty good about because Vince Carter had such a long career.
Yeah.
But he had to adapt his game. And I feel like he started off as this ferocious, dunker, slasher, but he became a pretty decent 3-point shooter at the end of his career and more of a role player. And I went with Bob Mould because, Husker Du was super heavy, and then he went solo and he mellowed out a little bit and changed his kind of style a little bit. And I feel like he got those two levers of Vince Carter and Bob Mould.
That's so well put. I mean, I feel like the angle of like the mid-career adjustment there, because it's very true. I mean, he was like an unrecognizable player for the back career essentially. He played for so long. I think he might have played for like the second most seasons in NBA history.
Yeah, I think so. I think he played 21 seasons.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, I actually feel like there's a few people who work in that sort of range. Like Bill Callahan or like John Cale.
John Cale.
Lil Wayne.
Did you say Lil Wayne?
Yeah.
I love to hear it.
I mean, there's honestly like such musical through lines with Lil Wayne's. Like I feel like exactly. Like I might disagree on this one because I feel like exactly when you hear Wayne, whereas when you saw Vince Carter at the end, you're like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, no, I think that Wayne is too much like the GOAT to meet this comparison here. It needs to be someone that's like way more like role player.
Yes, like what you like. Honestly, all your examples were great, Matt, and that's why I'm not going to say anybody.
That's fair. It's a tough one, sometimes you got to do a little research even.
I honestly was more prepared for another thing, so I'm going to say it real quick because I feel like maybe you mentioned something about like how basketball compares to music or something like that.
Okay.
Or I don't know if that was a problem. Maybe I made that up. But like
it's the crux of this podcast, so.
Yeah. Well, like I have this insane, like a very defining moment for me was when Jadakiss, who's a rapper, came out with these commercials with Allen Iverson. It was for the Reeboks. It was for his shoes. It was for the A5s. And they did a rap song, and like there were 2 sneakers. They did 2 commercials. They did a rap song, like shot basically a music video in like a basketball court type setting with like Jadakiss rapping and like Allen Iverson like dribbling and doing all kind of crazy shit. And I feel like that really is the moment where I was like, I think I probably but like there's a lot more to this like culturally and like the music around like the sport is actually like really impactful. And like now I have that perspective and like how he kind of bridged that insanely well and like kind of brought like mainstream music, like hip hop, and like brought these worlds together. And I still listen to that shit. Like I think I've played it in the van before, but
yeah,
you know every word for sure.
I know every single. both commercials. Yeah, like that one got me because it made me realize that AI is also more of like just he had such a big effect on the league, kind of like
Mhm.
Steph. We were talking about Steph, like
Totally.
so culturally for Allen Iverson, and you know I'm about it. Like I still feel like it really broadened the game and brought in so many people who really were who really compelled to that like attitude, that way of thinking. And yeah,
Yeah, I feel like like we were talking a little earlier, like AI brought in like the like hip hop culture into basketball, just
sure,
like Michael Jordan made sneakers like cool outside of basketball.
thousand
Right.
percent, 1000%.
There's always those like kind of cultural phenomenons within the game, and he's definitely one of them. Steph is definitely that right now.
That's insane. But yeah, that moment where AI crossed over Jordan in like '97 or something, I
That
love
came up
that.
in my feed the other day, actually.
Hell yeah.
Too much.
That's good. Cool. So yeah, that's all I got, guys. It's been great talking basketball with you a little bit.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having us.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And we'll keep an eye out for the new album. The self-titled album that is due out April, is that 26th?
That is correct.
26.
And I know there's nothing announced right now, but hopefully we can catch you on tour sometime later this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Well,
out.
thank you guys so much for joining. It's been great talking.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks a lot.